Life is a series of moments filled with questions, challenges, and learning opportunities. When we venture into the realm of relationships, especially the pursuit of love, we often find ourselves grappling with uncertainty and doubt. Am I doing this right? Is it worth all the effort? These questions are universal and emerge not only when we're seeking love, but in almost any aspect of life where commitment, vulnerability, and uncertainty are involved. And yet, when we talk about winning over a woman, it's important to approach this idea with a mindset that transcends the simplistic notion of conquest. Love, true love, is far deeper than a pursuit. It is an ongoing, evolving journey. Aristotle believed that love is a virtue. It is something that requires cultivation and effort. In his work Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle argued that the most fulfilling relationships are those based on philia, friendship, mutual respect, and a shared sense of good. This is not the love of romantic fantasy, but the love that endures and grows because both people contribute to it. It's not about impressing someone or trying to fulfill their every desire in an attempt to win them over. It's about showing up, day in and day out, being present, and creating a foundation of trust and respect. In today's world, this idea of love often feels like an outdated concept. We live in an era of instant gratification, where apps and social media make it easy to connect with others, but harder to form meaningful, lasting bonds. It's easy to be swept away by the surface-level attraction that often feels exciting, but is fleeting. However, Jean-Paul Sartre, one of the great existential philosophers, reminds us that love is not about possession or control. He believed that love is fundamentally an act of freedom. To love is to allow the other person to be who they are, without the need to shape them into our own image. Love, in its truest form, is an act of mutual freedom, a freedom to be ourselves, to grow, and to share a space where both individuals flourish. When pursuing someone, it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling like we must win them over at all costs. Carl Jung, the influential psychologist, suggests that what resists persists. This means that moments of resistance, those moments where things don't go the way we want, when the other person pulls away or when we feel rejected, are not obstacles to overcome, but opportunities for growth. Jung teaches us that our greatest growth occurs not when things come easily, but when we encounter challenges and push ourselves to work through them. Persistence, in this context, doesn't mean forcing someone to reciprocate feelings. Instead, it means showing up, continuing to learn, and reflecting on our actions and motives. Sometimes, the greatest insights come when things aren't going perfectly, and that's when we should dig deeper into understanding ourselves. However, persistence must not cross over into obsession or desperation. This is where we must consider the work of Sigmund Freud, who revolutionized our understanding of human behavior. Freud believed that many of our actions are driven by unconscious desires, deep, sometimes hidden motivations that shape how we relate to others. In the context of relationships, it's vital to ask ourselves, what's the root of our persistence? Are we trying to win someone over because of some unmet need within ourselves? Or is it because we truly want to build a connection with this person? Freud argued that many of our behaviors stem from unresolved conflicts in our unconscious minds, and these conflicts often surface in our relationships. When we feel compelled to persist in winning someone's affection, we must pause and reflect. Are we doing this from a place of love and respect for the other person, or are we attempting to fill an emotional void within ourselves? The answer to this question can help guide whether our persistence is healthy or misplaced. This brings us to a fundamental principle in human relationships: authenticity. In his work Influence, psychologist Robert Cialdini explained that our interactions with others are shaped by principles such as reciprocity, social proof, and commitment. In relationships, authenticity is key. People are drawn to others who are genuine, not to those who put on a facade. If you want to win someone over, you must be yourself. Don't try to mold yourself into someone you think the other person wants. Authenticity, Cialdini argues, builds trust and connection, and trust is essential in any lasting relationship. Authenticity doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest, transparent, and vulnerable in a way that allows the other person to do the same. It's only when both individuals feel safe in their vulnerability that true intimacy can develop. Immanuel Kant, one of the most influential philosophers in the field of ethics, taught that we should treat others as ends in themselves, not merely as means to an end. This idea is profoundly important when we talk about winning a woman's heart. A woman is not a prize to be won. She is a unique individual with her own dreams, fears, and experiences. If you're truly interested in building a meaningful connection, you need to see her as a whole person, not just as someone you're trying to conquer. True love begins with respect, and respect comes from understanding the other person, not by attempting to manipulate them into fitting your own desires. When you treat someone as a whole and unique individual, the relationship becomes more than a mere pursuit. It becomes a partnership, a shared journey of growth and discovery. But of course, even with the best intentions, there will be times when things don't go as planned. It's easy to become discouraged when our efforts don't seem to be reciprocated. This is where Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychotherapist, offers powerful insights. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl famously said, "Life never becomes unbearable because of circumstances, but only because of a lack of meaning." This is particularly relevant in relationships. When things aren't progressing, or when we feel like giving up, we must pause and reflect on what we are seeking. If we're only pursuing a relationship for validation, or because we fear loneliness, we may be chasing the wrong goal. But if we are seeking a connection based on mutual respect, growth, and love, then our persistence will be more grounded. Frankl teaches us that meaning is what makes us endure hardship. In relationships, finding meaning in the process, learning, growing, and understanding is often more important than the outcome. At this point, it's crucial to acknowledge the inherent unpredictability of life. Relationships, like everything else in life, don't always follow a clear path. Sometimes, no matter how much effort we put in, things simply don't work out. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of focusing on what is within our control and accepting what isn't. This idea is liberating because it reminds us that we can control how we behave, how we treat others, and how we respond to challenges. But we cannot control the reactions or feelings of others. In relationships, we may give our best effort, but if the other person is not ready, willing, or interested, we cannot force them to feel differently. Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept this reality with grace, recognizing that sometimes the best choice is to let go. Persistence is not about forcing someone to love you. It's about finding peace in knowing that you've given your best. And if it doesn't work out, it's not a failure. It's simply a part of the human experience. Finally, let's reflect on what truly matters in relationships. The journey, rather than the destination, is where the growth happens. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "We become what we can bear." Relationships challenge us. They push us to face our fears, to confront our insecurities, and to grow as individuals. When we persist in a relationship, not out of desperation, but out of a genuine desire to understand and connect, we learn more about ourselves than we ever could in moments of comfort. Persistence isn't about clinging to something or someone. It's about showing up as our true selves, learning, evolving, and accepting that not all relationships are meant to last forever. Sometimes, the most powerful act of persistence is knowing when to let go, when to accept that the relationship has served its purpose, and when it's time to focus on our own journey. In conclusion, winning a woman's heart is not about playing games or forcing connection. It's about understanding the deeper aspects of love: respect, authenticity, mutual growth, and persistence. Love is a journey, not a destination. And sometimes, the greatest lesson is not in the relationship itself, but in the personal growth it sparks within us. Persistence is important, but it must come from a place of wisdom, patience, and self-awareness. True love isn't something you conquer. It's something you build together with time, care, and mutual respect.